All good? Shit. There we go. So in today's video we've got quite a big job to be tackling. We're installing a 6-paddle clutch onto the Ibiza. Now I've just got the plate, which should be fine with the standard pressure plate and the dual mass flywheel, which I think my car has. So the process is pretty straightforward. We're going to strip down all the battery tray out, air box, all that kind of stuff. You know, get all the drive shafts out, all that kind of rubbish. I'll do my best to film everything as I go along, in case you're doing this yourself. Because to be honest, this is my first time doing a clutch as well. So with that being said, I'm actually getting a little bit of a hand. In the kind of first half of the video, I'm going to be stripping down the car, and then tomorrow, which will be included in this video, I'm going to get a bit of a hand to actually remove the gearbox and you know, put it back in, and you know, the clutch and things like that. So I'll be getting a little bit of help there, just because it's my first time doing a clutch. Just for peace of mind, you know, you can't go wrong with an extra pair of hands. So I'll quickly show you off here, and then we can get to stripping down the car, ready to receive new clutch. So yeah, it's a 6-paddle clutch. Now the reason I'm doing this is because, as you well know, I've got like a hybrid turbo there, and you know, head bolts, all that good stuff. And obviously the standard clutches on the car at the moment won't be able to handle the power this car will be putting out when obviously installed the hybrid turbo, and it's been remapped to hopefully around about 230-40 brake. So that is why we're installing the 6-paddle clutch. So also we've got a brand new you know, release bearing thing and all that, so it's good make as such as well. So anyway, with that being said, let's crack on. So this is where we're at the moment. Now we've got plenty of room to remove all the things we need to remove from the gearbox now. So now it's just a simple case of removing the linkages, all the kind of wiring from the starter motor, your hydraulic clutch line, pretty straightforward really. So let's crack on. Guys, I'm pretty sure that's everything we need to do in the engine bay for the time being, I think. So we've got obviously the linkages disconnected, we've got the clutch fluid line disconnected, so I don't think there's anything else we can do up here at the moment. So I think what we'll do now is we'll jack up underneath, and we'll start taking off the drive shafts and all that kind of stuff. So let's crack on. Right guys, just a wee update. So, fuck off. Bloody seagulls. So the next thing I'm going to do is just crack off all the bolts that hold the gearbox on, and then probably the next clip you probably see after that, we'll probably remove the gearbox. So let's crack on. Right, so the bolts holding the gearbox are an 18mm, so let's crack on. Oh, you fucker. Something worth mentioning, if you haven't done this before, is you can remove the obviously bolts for the start motor. So I also removed the wee nut which holds on the earth. Thing comes off like that. Oh, get out the fucking road. Then you also got a bolt there, and there's a bolt underneath as well, which we'll get to later on. So anyway, just to show you that. Anyway, let's crack on.
Yeah, I might need to get the car a bit higher, maybe.
You reckon?
Was it you I seen in the cinema with your girlfriend, me and Danny, or was it your brother?
I was either my brother or Marianne. Yeah, in the cinema a while back.
I might because she was telling me.
He knows grand. 16. Let's drop in now, look. Like, what's the neck of that like? A bit loose, isn't it?
That mount's pretty knocker, to be honest.
Yeah.
One eternity later.
What the fuck did we get out? There's no wiring caught, is there?
No, all good.
Right. You got it? Sorry, watch your fingers. What will that? Ah, well, it's out anyway, it's the main thing, isn't it? It's an only English sap, it's just that, isn't it? It's that fucking wire, isn't it? Oh, yeah.
What a pain in the arse that was.
The only way it'd be easier to get it back in is by taking that subframe off.
I mean, I said there's only 2 bolts that actually holds on, so we could possibly drop that, just make it a little bit easier.
It's up to you, you know. Yeah, you think the bolt's alright coming off, we'll do it, you know. Right, seized on it. There we are, look. Ah. There you are.
What's your neck like? That's actually not bad neck, huh? Ah. So it has got a solid flywheel in it.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
That's not bad then, huh?
Yeah, give me the
We update. So I'm not really talking much because there's just so much work to do, it's really annoying. We're having to drop the subframe just to make it a bit easier to get the gearbox back up. As we got the old clutch off, and yeah, it turns out it's a solid flywheel, which is good, I guess. Anyway, so the next plan is we're going to drop the subframe, put on the new like release bearing thing, new clutch on, gearbox up, and then, well, you know the rest. So let's crack on. All good?
shit. It slipped a bit, it's off. Yeah. So we need to sort out the...
Yeah, that one's absolutely fucked. Right, so now the plan is we're going to get the 6-pedal clutch on with obviously the original pressure plate, which I've told should be fine, so fingers crossed it is. But anyway, so pretty much done everything so far. We've got the new clutch release bearing on the gearbox. The gearbox is all clean now as well. Even the flywheel's been cleaned off camera with, you know, brake cleaner, just so there's no grime or, you know, anything like that on it. So yeah, everything's pretty much good to go really. So let's crack on. Right, also now that the subframe is off, we can just have a better look at it and also the general condition of it. Also, and a wee recap onto work that was done before. You might remember this in previous episodes. It's got brand new wishbones on it, both sides. Also, we got brand new bushes on there, and the brackets, and the bolts. Obviously, both sides as well. And the brand new shortened drop links. For safe measure, obviously in the past as well, I put brand new genuine Volkswagen bolts in there as well. Because apparently they're like stretch bolts or some nonsense, but for the price of them, I replaced them anyway. But so I just thought I'd show you guys the subframe while it's off the car, because it's actually in quite good condition. So anyway, that being said, let's crack on.
I see a chair. I'll pass it up to you. You got it.
Oh yeah, you can wait on it as well.
About that. Certainly. Thing is, you're controlling it. Got to wait and I can stay in it. It's great.
Right, that's all the gearbox bolts tightened up. Now the next thing to do is put the mount back on, bleed the clutch, cables on, make sure everything's working, and then get the subframe on and everything back together again. So, making good progress, let's crack on.
Just to get in.
The fluid's a lot cleaner now though.
Yeah, totally.
Because before it was absolutely black.
Oh yeah.
Right, now it's time to drain the gearbox oil and put fresh stuff in. Now, the drain is there and the fill plug is there. You have to buy a special tool to remove this, and this is the tool here. It's a bit of a weird tool, but get on eBay quite cheap. So anyway, let's crack on. That's blacker. Jesus. Right, now that the oil's drained out the gearbox, it's time to put fresh stuff in. Now, I basically just put a pipe onto the end of this, and it's basically gone into the gearbox. Just like that. So, that's our finally back on the ground, and all done. Right, now the car's back together again, let's take it for a drive and experience what it's like to drive a Seat Ibiza 1.9 TDI with a solid flywheel and the 6-pedal clutch, because there's a lot of rumours that goes about like that they're really hard to live with and they're like awkward to drive, but we'll soon find out. So let's go and see what it's like. Right, I hope you guys can hear me because I don't have my external microphone, but the first thing we're going to cover is clutch chatter. Basically what that is because we've got a solid flywheel and not a dual mass flywheel, and because we have a solid flywheel, it's not taking up the vibration of the clutch plate. I don't exactly know what clutch chatter is, but as you can hear, I'll engage the clutch and you might hear it. Right, so it's quiet now, but when I lift off the clutch, right, so that's the clutch engaged, so it's quiet for now. But if you like Google clutch chatter, you'll know what it is. So that's one of the biggest like cons of a solid flywheel and a 6-paddle clutch. You get really bad clutch chatter. Now me personally, it doesn't bother me, but if you do go for a dual mass flywheel, you probably won't have that problem. So that is one of the cons. But anyway, that's one of the worst cons. But anyway, we'll take it for a drive right now, and I'll describe to you guys what it's like. Right, so the first thing is, like, when you're parking, it's quite awkward. If you don't rev it high enough, the car just judders, and it wants to lurch forward. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. So basically, if you don't give it enough revs, the car will judder. Yet again, it doesn't really bother me either, but it's just something worth noting if you are going for this kind of setup yourself. Now, the biggest pro and the biggest plus point of the 6-paddle clutch is obviously you can run a lot more power and torque. Obviously with a standard clutch, you can't really, if you push maybe 200 brake, maybe more, a standard clutch, it's not going to last long. So yeah, obviously I have done some research before obviously filming this part of the video. This thing does pull quite well. Right guys, so this is the clutch chatter. So now, as you can see, the clutch is depressed. So listen when I release the clutch. So yeah, that's clutch chatter. But honestly guys, it's nothing to worry about, so don't be like, too worried if you hear that with this setup. It's perfectly normal. So now I'll show you guys where the biting point is with the 6-paddle clutch. Right, so the car's in the gear. So the biting point is pretty much instant. So just about here is where the biting point starts to engage. So it's really early. That's another thing to mention. Obviously, when you're kind of pulling away with this kind of clutch setup, what I've noticed personally is you do need to kind of rev it a little bit higher to get a relatively smooth pull off. Other than that, it seems to judder. I'm not sure, maybe my flywheel's a little bit warped. I doubt it, because when we did the clutch install, it was in pretty good condition. There was no like heat spots or anything like that at all. Right guys, so that about wraps up today's video. So as far as I'm aware, this is the only video on YouTube of a 6-paddle clutch install on a Seat Ibiza 1.9 TDI. So please smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video.